going to talk about some of the most important questions that you have to ask your flight school. This is one of few major decisions that will simply define the rest of your career. What's the first step when determining what school you want to go to? Yo, what is going on, fellow aviators? It's your boy. I'm super excited about this one. We're going to talk about some of the most important questions that you have to ask your flight school before you join. Make sure you stay tuned until the very end to get a extra bonus tip and resource that I'm gonna leave with you at the end of this. So first, let's talk about why it's so important and such an important decision to find the perfect flight school for you. There's a couple of good reasons. The first one that I want to talk about is because the price that you're going to pay. It's gonna cost a lot of money and honestly a lot of effort as well. Another reason is because there's so many different flight schools out there, ranging from small 2-instructor, 1-instructor schools, all the way up to schools that have 80 to maybe even 100 instructors. I mean, these are huge schools. Also, you have schools that are in rural areas versus schools that are in cities. There's so many factors to consider, and this all goes back into you're paying for it and you're putting your eggs in that basket. So what's the first step when determining what school you want to go to? The first thing I would think about is whether you want to go to a Part 61 school or Part 141. Now, these are two totally different types of schools with different type of curriculums, with different type of pros and different types of cons. I would do your best to research both and figure out what's best for you. Me currently, I'm going to a Part 141, so this is more of an accelerated program. My whole goal is to get out of school as soon as possible so I can get to the airlines. Because as you know, in the airlines, it's all about seniority. So that's why I chose a Part 141. After that, I would research schools in your local area and literally make a list. I know it sounds dumb, but make a list. Make a list with the top schools in your area. Look at the websites, look at the reviews, call them, and just come up with maybe 10 schools that you found in your area. Narrow it down to the best 3 that you think are fire. Now, considering you narrowed it down to 3, there's 2 things that I would do now. One, I tried to get either a tour with them or a phone tour, virtual tour, whatever the case may be, to try to ask them a couple of questions. So what I would do and what I would recommend that you guys do is come with a Google Doc or with a printed out paper of all of these questions, and as they're telling it to you, write it down and just keep track of it. What are some of the questions that I would ask? Here's a list of important general questions that I asked my flight school to determine whether or not it was a school I was going to go to or a school that I was going to pass on. 1, what's your average pass rate for stage checks, exams, and check rides? This is important because you want to know if their instructors are instructing. Another question I'd ask is, what are your strengths and weaknesses? Sounds more like a question that you get asked on a job interview. But if you think about it, this is kind of like a job interview because you're paying them $150,000. Next, I'd ask, will I have the same instructor throughout training? If you're going to a flight school, you want to make sure that you have 1, maybe 2 instructors max per rating so that you can stay focused and stay on your path. What's your student to instructor ratio? This is cool because you can see how hands-on you can expect your instructor to be with you, how personal. How busy is the airport? This is important. This question pertains to the type of airport your flight school is connected to. If your flight school is connected to a more busy airport, you might expect longer waiting times, having to fly far out to get to the actual training area to start training, all of these things. So make sure that you ask that. Do you help with job placement? Are there any initiatives in place, job fairs, career fairs, airline hiring fairs? Is there anything in place to help you get a job? Ask for references from former students. Ask if they have any references. If anyone's going to tell you the truth, it's going to be somebody who actually went to the flight school. If they give you the option, walk around, talk to flight students, talk to instructors, talk to everybody, get your own view, your own outlook on everything. Okay, boom. You asked all the questions. Now you've narrowed it down to one school with the best stats, one school with the best planes, with the best this, with the best that. Now what? The last step I'd say is to do a discovery flight. Even if you've already flown before, do a discovery flight. Discovery flight helps with a lot of things. One, it can tell you if you really even want to fly. Two, it can tell you the type of training, the type of instruction you can expect from that individual flight school. And three, it can give you a good experience to see what kind of planes you'll be flying in. Because if you're like me and you're in Texas, you probably want a plane with air conditioning. Not all schools have those. So maybe you do. Maybe that's another selling point for you. Do a discovery flight, and after that, you have all of the knowledge you need to make this first big, huge decision. So good luck to you, future aviators. I hope to see you guys in the skies. Comment down below with any questions, comments, and concerns that I should address. I'll respond to every single one of you guys. Let's get to 4 views on this. Last video, I asked for 3. Peace.